What's up, you guys? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very nice day. Long time no see. But I thought I'd record this video this morning because I think the light in the morning, it's the best. And so I had some free time and I decided I was going to shoot this little video. You'd seen this little guy before. I think I told you about the cuttings, the bougainvillea cuttings, how they're very easy to root. And yeah, this little guy, maybe I mentioned this on my TikTok, by the way. If you want to check those videos out, you can go over to my TikTok. The link will be down in the description. But I mentioned that this is not the best practice because the root mass of this little cutting and these other little cuttings that I have here is growing directly um, in the same container as this little guy, right? The mother plant. So it's not the best idea, but that's one of the things that I'm going to do today. I'm going to separate them. I got a little nursery back here, so this little guy, the bougainvillea cutting, pink bougainvillea, will be growing in its own little bag from now on. And yeah, I also want to show you what I'm going to be doing with this little guy. Basically, it's just pruning. Um, this is going to be a two video series. Well, not series really, but I'm gonna also work on a pomegranate on the next video because I'm gonna tell you about a couple of things that you want to consider when you're leaving sacrifice branches here and there. I've mentioned this before, but the best for trees other than pines is to leave the sacrifice branch at the apex. That way, you won't get ugly scars. That way, if you're leaving like a bunch of branches, you won't get swelling on the trunk, like an inverse taper kind of thing. So it's just for the best, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is prune it a little bit. That way, we'll see the main structure that we got and some of the back budding that we've also been working already on. And yeah, I think it's going to be um, a cool little video. Anyway, so I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to come in with my scissors and get rid of this little guy right here. And this is a bit tender, this is a bit tender right here. Maybe there we go. This is a bit tender, but this right here, this little branch that's already forming the little bark, that's perfect if you want to grow cuttings, grow pomegranates from cuttings. So I'm going to get rid of this, like the pink part. And if I want to root this is going to root absolutely no problem. So the reason I remove this, it's because I want to make like a natural looking tree, like how a tree would grow in nature. So that's why I remove this one, because normally branches that grow under the main canopy, the main branches, they die out because they don't have access to sunlight, right? So that's what I'm going to do with that one. This one over here, I'm going to lift the camera. This one over here, you can see that it's grown very, very vigorously. That's great. That tells me that the tree is healthy, but it's crossing the main branches and the potential new sacrifice branch that we have over here. So what I'm going to do is same, right? I'm just going to come in and remove it. And I got another cutting right here, right? So we're left with this junction right here where the two little branches were growing. I'm gonna cut this little knot right here, and you see that this branch has also elongated to the point of being super long now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prune it back to here, so that so that these little buds that we have here can become active, or these little buds can become active too. Yeah. So over here we got the same thing. We're gonna prune them, and over here, this is the back. So this little branch is growing directly up, so we want lateral root. We could we could actually, you know, wire this like so. But one of the things that happens with pomegranates is that they're rather brittle, you know. So if you're not careful, you can break the little branches. So today we're just pruning, right? It's very easy to get back budding on these. So this will generate sort of like a hedge effect, right? So this one too, right? Now this is the new apex. Well, it's always been the apex, but we didn't see it before. And this is a new sacrifice branch. Remember, if you're working with broadleaf trees, it's best if you just leave the top of the tree to be the sacrifice branch. That way, you only get one scar, right? The one at the top, which you can hide with the tiny little branches that you form the apex with, right? So that's it. Another thing that I want to do with this one is, I don't know if you can see it here. Let me just move it to this side. Mm, Here we go. Well, I think I can pick up the camera. So this is a sacrifice branch that's growing directly at the base. That's where it's coming from, right? Uh, it's coming from this point. That also works, you know, because it's at the bottom. Um, you know, the Nevari could be affected, but you know, I'm just leaving it so it thickens. This, if it thickens, that's absolutely no problem because that's exactly what we want, right? An inverted cone shape. So this is what we get if we let a branch that's stemming from the bottom to grow and elongate and thicken. So this little branch, um, we got a little flower here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weaken. I'm going to make this a bit weaker so that the main structure of the little tree can be vigorized. Yeah. So first thing is I'm not going to cut the little flower because I want to enjoy that for a couple more days. So I'm going to remove this one. And look, like what I was saying, this is perfect for rooting. Yeah. Because we got the little bark just barely forming. This is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect for rooting if you want to do that. So, what we do next is we come in, and you can do this with your fingers, but you remove most of the foliage, and that sends a message, clear message to the plant that says, we don't want foliage here. If you want to produce more foliage, you can elongate the branch, right? And that elongation is what give us the thickness, right? The thickness that we want at the base. Yeah. So like I said, you can use your fingers. I'm using them because I can't, my hands. Another cutting, if you want to. And what I like to do is I like to come in, and even if we've already weakened the little branch, I just clip the tip right here. This is not focusing because of my cup of coffee on the way. Well, sorry, in the way. And just clip the tip like that, right? So that is going to redirect the energy to this side of the tree. Yeah. But we're still going to have this, very vigorous section of the tree. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. That's it for the main little guy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it out of the pot of this little container. We'll take a look at the root mass and we'll carefully remove these cuttings that I have here. We got one and two, and the bougainvillea one. This one is the one I'm most interested in because, like I said, the pink, beautiful flowers that it's got, they're very delicate. They look very delicate, and so this is a variety that I want to keep. Of course, you can find this in any nursery where I live. These are very popular. I also want to get like a dark red one, but this one, close to my heart because it was selected by my wife. So anyway, I'm going to take it out now. Let's see if we got like a decent amount of roots so that we can take the whole thing out. There we go. Here we go. This is the root mass. Let's see. And I'm going to remove a little bit of the soil here. See if I can remove the bougainvillea cutting. I think it's going to be harder than I thought. So I'm going to, pause the video, comb out the roots, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay? So here I go. Sorry, guys. So here we are. We can see that the roots have formed very, very well. And, again, this goes to show, as what I was saying in the previous video, that bougainvilleas root very, very easily, if you take them at the right moment. So I'm gonna pause the video again because it's just I'm gonna take out the dirt from this little nursery bag and I'm gonna plant it here. Okay. And the other cuttings that we have here, that's gonna be step number 2. So here I go. So here the little guy is already planted, already secure in its new little home. And now for these, since they're so easy. Oh, this one, the roots are very, very small yet, yeah, but still alive. And for these, since they're so very common, I'm just gonna take them out of a pot like this. And we can see the root mass. There we go. So you can see that I've been doing the exact same thing for this one. On the right, we have the sacrifice branch growing unchecked, but I've already pruned the little branch on the left, and you can see that we got some backbudding there. And this is also a sacrifice branch that came out from the bottom. That's very typical of pomegranates. So you can do that, leave them there, and then you cut them, and then you get a thick base, right? So I'm gonna plant this in this little nursery bag right here. I'm just gonna leave it there for the moment. Then I'm just gonna microwave, do some weeding. That's it. We good. We're golden. Let's see if we can see the whole tree if I take it. And there we go. Nice. Yeah, I think it's getting there. Getting better and better. I'm gonna. There we go. I'm gonna leave the sacrifice branch from the shot. Leave out the sacrifice branch from the shot, and there we can see. You know, just an idea of what it will look like in the future. Right? Imagine, more dense foliage, uh, a little bit of a thicker trunk, and yeah, mini pomegranate bonsai. Right? So anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, subscribe, comment, leave any questions that you have, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.